Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. There was a person who once said, "Victory has 100 memories, but defeat has amnesia." That person was W.I.E. Gates. Who is that? I don't know. But they do have an interesting point, that victory has 100 memories, but defeat has amnesia. Well, it's an interesting point. However, I disagree. I think personally that it's the other way around, that victory is amnesia and defeat has 100 memories. And I'll go into that in a second, not only with my own interpretation of why I think so, but also because I have personal experience that I'll share with you all. And defeat isn't really such a bad thing after all when you think about it. So why do I think defeat has 100 memories and victory has amnesia? Well, I'm sure all of you can answer that honestly. If you just think back to 1 second, one moment in time, back to a point where you tried as hard as you could, but for some reason you lost whatever it is you was, whether it was some competition or trying to do something on your own, at home for once, self-building, cooking, whatever it is that matters to you, and you just couldn't do it no matter what you did. Did you give up? Probably not, because you're still here. And I hope all of you still have your limbs intact, depending on what you did. When a defeat comes around, you start to ask yourself, why did you lose? What didn't work? And how can you better yourself because of it? It is from defeat that you learn how to actually improve yourself. And you remember that defeat, so something like that will never happen again. With a victory, most of the times it's, oh, I won. It's cool. It's all right. It's all right. Week goes by, I don't remember. You don't remember why you won. You don't remember why you were successful. And you don't learn anything from the victory. I have experienced this myself personally as well. Back in my ages of high school, as I'm sure some of you may remember, I was doing nothing but theater. And sure enough, I too would come to the Fullerton College Theater Festival here, where high schools would, of course, in a friendly competition, perform their own scenes or monologues or whatever against each other. My first year, I didn't get that far. But I did remember it. It didn't bother me because I had a lot of fun. But I do remember not getting into even the semifinals of the competition of my category. What did I do? I didn't complain. I didn't cry. I simply went back, looked at what I did, what was wrong with it, nodded my head, said, all right, I will not do that again. Next year, I got into the semifinals. Why? Probably because I lost last year. I looked back and I remembered, and I carried that memory of why I lost back into the following year, and that's how I improved myself. If I would have won, I would have assumed that it was because I was amazing, and I wouldn't have learned anything. And if I thought that way going into it, then lost, it would have just hurt that much more. And defeat is not always such a bad thing as well. Because when you think about it, defeat, victory, sometimes it just frankly doesn't matter. Some of the best memories I have are actually from losing, whether it be friendly or competitive. Mainly because the majority of times whenever I happen to lose, I'm probably laughing my face off with my friends or anything of that sort, in a game or a contest or anything. Some of my best memories do come from defeat. And of course there are good memories and victories. Of course there are. Who doesn't like to win? However, defeat, victory, it's all just a single word that we tend to put on one thing, whether you go win or lose. However, it's up to you whether you want to feel like you won or lost. Thank you.
All right, I thought it was a little odd about the greeting and telling us the topic and using that as your attention device, but you did get a little humor out of not knowing the name, and so people reacted to that a bit. The point that you had was good because I liked the way you kind of inverted the quote and went the opposite direction on that. Setup of the supporting points could be a little bit clearer, but you had an excellent transition to the first point. The visualization on your first point, I think you started off with a good idea and you knew what you were trying to say, but it wasn't quite as certain as it needed to be. I thought you had really good audience contact during the whole presentation. There's a lot of energy in your voice, and you're very engaging while you're talking to the audience. Your face is animated while you're talking to us, and that all works really well. Your body movement, I thought you got a little bit more involved in the second half of the speech and engaged and doing the same kinds of things that you were doing with your voice and your face in the later parts of the speech there. The exit came, it just seemed a little bit less planned. It did finish off okay, but I think it could have been integrated in the speech a little bit more. But most of the presentation things were really solid. All right.